Hello and welcome to Perfectly Paranormal, episode 65. My name's Annaschmidt, and I'm here every week to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about except me, because I just want to share the stuff that I know with you. And today, we're going to be exploring a question from Carol, who lives in Ontario, Canada. Amongst other people who ask me this same question, pretty much every week I get an email with this question: why do spirits keep coming to me? Now, people ask me that a lot, and there are some openly definable reasons why spirits linger around people, and also some that are not so easily definable. So we're going to unpack all of these today, along with some relatable real-life experiences that I've had and some of my house healing clients. Now, today's episode is not specifically talking about past loved ones or relatives in spirit that come to visit, because this is quite commonplace for many, many people at one time or another in their lives. Now, their family or their friends that have passed, or even pets that have passed, can sometimes come and visit in dreams. You might get that sort of familiar wafting scent of Pop's cigar or Nan's scones that she used to cook you every Sunday, or those sort of sentimental songs on the radio that pop up and you're just like, wow, I was just thinking about Dad. There's his favourite song. These are all common sorts of signs that people experience. Now, let's look at some of the whys as to a lot of the possibilities as to why spirits and sometimes dark energy beings keep coming back to people. Now, I've broken these into two groups. So first of all, we're going to look at spirit level energy, and then we're going to look at the darker energy beings, and maybe a couple of others that have just come to mind. So I'm going to put them to the side and hopefully remember when we get to the end. Now, let's look at spirit level energy first. Your intention to connect with the spirit realm or past loved ones, either consciously or subconsciously, whether it's a hidden desire or whether it's through grief or whether it's through some need to give a message, this creates a vibration. Now, sometimes many different vibrations that are all happening at the same time. And that energy that you are pumping out can attract spirit visitors. Now, here's a little example. A friend came to me with an issue of continuously being annoyed by spirits and spirit-type happenings in her home. There were lights flickering, her dog wouldn't come inside, she was having sleep disturbances, and she kept feeling like someone was touching her or trying to get her attention. Now, at first, this was fun because this lady is a spiritual worker. So she's interested. She doesn't technically do spirit transition, but she works in the energy world. And at first she thought this was fun. And like she kind of loved it. You know, she's spiritual visitors all around her. And who is it and why are they here? But that soon wore off, as it does, when she realised that she couldn't control these situations that kept happening on a daily basis. And her sleep and her mental health were really starting to decline. Now, she'd been told that she had a gift to work with spirits. So she was doing her Reiki and her energy work, but she'd also added another element where she'd put it out there to the universe, yeah, I want to transition spirits. When you create that intention, you're going to get what you put out there. So spirits, there's a random spirits that are in our earth environment all the time. And 70% of them are looking for help. Some want to be here for various reasons that I've talked about in other episodes on this podcast. But sometimes spirits do want to transition. They've missed the flight. They've missed the doorway for whatever reason. So they go randomly looking around the environment to find someone to help. When you're putting that energetic signpost outside your front door or over the roof of your house, you're going to be attracting random spirits from in the environment. I know because I've been down this path. Now, like I said, she'd been given information by a reader. She'd been to see a tarot reader or a mediumship reader, and they told her that she had a gift to work with spirits. But she wasn't given any tuition on the pros and cons of this work. She didn't seek out anyone as a teacher or watch any online videos or get an understanding of how this all works. She just kind of threw herself in the deep end and just put it out there because it felt like it was fun and it was going to be exciting and she was really curious. But she didn't think about, like I said, she didn't think about the pros and cons of this work and some of the downfalls that come with it. Now, long story short, she made a declaration to the universe once she realised that this was going to be an ongoing problem. A friend sent it to me and I just gave her sort of a brief outline of what it's like to live this daily lifestyle of working with spirits and dark energy beings and sometimes elementals and the demonic beings and sometimes the cosmic beings. It's all very complicated. She had no idea. She went into it totally blind to what she was opening herself up to. So like I said, she sat down one afternoon and she cleared her mind and she called in her spirit guides and she made a very solemn declaration to the universe that she didn't want to do this work anymore. And she asked that any spirits in her home or coming to her home were to be redirected elsewhere in the earth environment to find someone who could help them when needed. Now, she wrote this down so that she had the exact wording because specific words are very, very important when you're putting out your intentions. If it's ambiguous in any way, you're going to get an ambiguous answer. Believe me, I know that. I've had to refine my statement writing over the years so I know exactly what I want to say and exactly what I want to attract to myself or not attract to myself. Now, this lady vigilantly sat and said this statement multiple times every day. I think it took a week. And then she messaged me and she went, I feel like my life is back on track. The cat's happier, the dog's happier, the house feels better, it feels lighter, it feels brighter. I actually feel like I've got my energy back again. So I knew when she said that her intention that she'd put out there had cleared her spiritual groupies. Her spirit groupies that were in the house all the time had actually moved on to find someone else. Now, to keep herself away from focusing on this spirit issue, because remember, where you put your thoughts is what you attract to yourself, she focused her intention on other aspects of her life, with family, with her hobbies, and keeping busy away from all thoughts about the paranormal. I think she still did her Reiki, but that is not specific to working with spirits. That is a different type of energy work. Now, that was a positive outcome for that lady, and I do wish her well with her Reiki. Now, the second aspect we're going to look at is your psychic openness. Now, you're saying, what do you mean by that? Some people are naturally, spiritually, or psychically open, whether it's with knowing information or seeing or hearing or feeling spirits or other energy beings being around us, or having premonitions, having dreams that tell you what's coming in the future, or just knowing about a particular situation. All these sort of little things that happen are your different levels of psychic openness. Now, it's also called intuition. So some people have very strong intuition. Some just don't bother with it. It's like, can't be bothered, that's not for me. And that's fine. But sometimes people know about their psychic openness and sometimes they don't. Now, in my mind, I've got the word hidden, but it's not technically hidden. It's out there in the open, but you're just not aware of it. You're not tuned into that spiritual side of yourself. You're living very much in the everyday, going to work, dealing with the family, going to the shops, the vet, the groceries, out to dinner, all that human stuff. If you're really in tune with the energetic environment around you, then your vibration can attract spirits. I'm one of these people, so I can talk from personal experience. I've been attracting spirits and other levels of energy beings probably since I was about 3, 4, 5 years old. I can remember back when I was about 5. And I used to have a little push button light, a little bed light, built into the wooden bed head on my bed. And I'd sleep with the light on all the time. My parents would come in when I was asleep and they'd turn it off, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd turn it back on again because I thought the light helped. It gave me comfort. Because I'd be in bed and I would feel the pressure of someone sitting on the bed. Now, these spirits that came to visit me were never harmful. They didn't hurt me in any way. But our human impressions of what hurt and harm is kind of different to what these spirits have in their minds. Someone sitting on your bed in the middle of the night can be slightly frightening depending on your level of awakeness and psychic awareness. But at 5, I was quite frightened and spent most of my nights with the lights on and my head's under the blankets because I would get pokes on the shoulder, like just a little gentle poke. Look, I'm here. Can you please help me? Or I'd get this squeeze on my right arm that I still get to this day. Now, quite often, if I'm doing spirit transition on a regular basis, like I'm in every morning, if I get up and being human, I get sidetracked all the time. And they know. Anna said she's going to do spirit transition every morning at, I don't know, between 9:30 and 10. And if I'm outside hanging the washing or I'm watering the veggie garden or I'm working on a podcast episode or I've just got sidetracked on a phone call, I'll get this very gentle squeeze on my right arm, in that upper portion of my arm. Now, it's not harmful. It's more a reminder that I need to do the spirit transition. Because like I said, you put out that awareness, you put out that intention to do this work, they're going to come. You know, you put it out there. The law of attraction works in so many different ways. But I enjoy the work. This is what I do all the time. But sometimes I do forget. And that gentle squeeze on my right arm reminds me that I need to do the spirit transition. Now, if you work as a light worker or a healer or a tarot card reader, working with Reiki, working with crystals or sound therapy, mediumship, or you're a house healer, I'm just giving you some examples. Anyone that works in the field of energy. I talked in another episode, which I can't remember the number, all about how our energy fields, people who do different trades, have different work or different interests, your energy field shines in a particular way, or you're pumping out this particular type of vibration. So light workers in all their different forms pump out this very strong, very bright vibration. And you are just naturally going to attract paranormal beings of some sort. Now, spirits can come for help. Sometimes they can come to observe. Quite often the dark energy beings will come to observe because they're like, oh, there's a new vibration. I haven't seen that one in that house before. I'm just going to wander on in through the walls and just stand there and have a look. And you wonder why all of a sudden you start to feel a bit sort of vague, or you get brain fog, or you feel a little bit sort of unsettled. Again, depending on your level of psychic openness. But these energy beings, they live, all the different realities of energy beings, including the elementals, they all live in the same space that we are living in. So sometimes we just kind of collide with each other. They get in our space, we get in their space. Now, another one is, if you've desired to be a spiritual worker or a transitioner of spirits, which is similar to what I mentioned very first up, but you can't dedicate regular time to it. It has to be regular. Spirits are very like clockwork. Even though they don't work on time, they know when you get out of bed and you open your folder, right, that's when she does the work. And here they come. You can feel them coming in hordes sometimes. I'll never forget, a little sidestep here, but it's relevant. I put out there to the universe that any spirits that needed to be transitioned were to wait outside the window near my dining room, because I work on the corner of my dining room table next to the window. It's good lighting. I just like it. It feels nice there. So outside my dining room window is where my driveway is. And one day I came up my driveway after being out sort of doing some shopping or something. I came up the driveway, parked my car, got out of the car, and I felt like I was hit with this wave of people. I felt like I was instantly standing in the middle of a crowd. But to the average person, to the average eyes, you can't see anybody. And I don't see them very often, but I can feel them. And it was like this wave of people came towards me. And I just had to put my hand out and go, I know you're all here. Please go and wait near the window. Let me get inside, get sorted, get settled. Then I'll come and do the work. This situation can be really, really tricky. Like, I didn't start doing spirit transition until my family got older. You know, when they're off living their own lives. So I'm at the stage in my life now where I've got my own time and I can dedicate it to whatever I want. So spirits aren't ruled by daytime jobs, routines, schedules, but they can turn up in your home 24/7, loitering in groups like I just mentioned. This falls into the next category, not having any energetic or personal boundaries. That's a really big issue. Now, I'm talking energetic boundaries around your energy field and using your words to create boundaries. Now, I created a boundary around the spirits waiting outside the dining room window. They weren't allowed into the house until I sat down. I opened my purple folder, which has got my pendulum and my little tools and things that I use for my transitioning. That's when they were allowed to come into the house. I did the work. Bam, they're gone in 5 minutes. Now, if you don't have boundaries, which is a personal boundary or protection around your energy field, they can actually pop into your energy field, which is very, very uncomfortable. It's like being in a sleeping bag with 50 people and they're all just there. They're just loitering. They're just present. And it's just like, why do I all of a sudden feel overwhelmed and I can't cope and I just feel like someone is standing in my space? It's because they literally are standing in your space. So this is where you need to create word boundaries, but also energetic boundaries by saying a statement, visualizing that you have protection around your energy field and they are in no way allowed to enter your personal energy field, because you give spirits an inch and they will take a mile. Boundaries and rules are really important. And some of these spirits are going to be like naughty teenagers and they will test your boundaries. So you've got to be firm but kind at the same time. Like I did when I got out of my car and I had no idea that there was hundreds and hundreds of spirits waiting to be transitioned. The numbers can get quite big. You're not talking one or two. I transition groups and I've given up asking. I used to ask for curiosity. Now I just go with group 1, 2, 3, 4. It's usually 4 groups, sometimes 6. And it only takes maybe 20 minutes to work with 6 groups of spirits every day. Now sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. If they don't, I don't go looking for them. I only deal with the spirits that come to my house. Because when you start going looking for them, that causes all sorts of other problems with invading personal boundaries. You're going into homes, you're talking with friends, you're going on paranormal tours looking for spirits to transition. What if they don't want to be transitioned? I'm going to be talking soon about spirits, dark energy beings and mental health facilities. That's going to be one of my upcoming episodes. I think it's episode 67, but don't hold me on that because I haven't got to that one yet. But spirits sometimes don't want to be transitioned. They like being here. They're doing their job. They feel like they have a purpose. They're afraid to go to the afterlife because they've been a bit naughty when they're alive and they don't know how they're going to be treated. Some of them just want to be here. They like being around their family. Our spirit pets like being around us. So you don't go looking for them because you're just going to cause problems for yourself and the spirits may get angry and start flickering the lights even more, slamming doors, taking your keys. All sorts of things can happen. So you don't want repercussions. So you just treat them with respect. If they come to you and you're an energy worker and you're doing the work, that's fine. But like I said, I don't go looking for them. Now, some people I'm shaking my finger at my microphone as I'm saying this. I ask this question. Do you really want them to stop coming to you? Now, you're probably wondering, why would I ask that? Now, some people, and I'm not judging, this is just observations. Remember, I'm always sharing my personal experiences and my observations of others. Some people like to complain about their homes being haunted or that they're being attacked by unseen forces, basically to get attention. Now, this isn't the unseen forces wanting attention. This is the people. For some reason in their lives, they're not getting attention, or they don't feel worthy, or they feel like they're worthless, or no one's taking any notice of them. Some sort of issues that need counselling. They need to see a mental health worker, basically, someone to help them unpack what their issues are. Could be a life trauma, could be something that happened to them at work last week, could be something right back from childhood. But quite often, people will put that vibe out there. Oh yeah, if I get spirits coming to me, then I can just go from healer to healer to healer, talk to spiritual worker, go to readers and keep telling the same story, get the sympathy, get the victim mentality thing going. That's just a vicious cycle of feeling unworthy and worthless and needing other people's validation to tell you that you have worth. Now, I'm not going to go on about this, but it is a question that I always ask. Do you really want them to stop coming to you? And I can gauge by the person's response, whether I see them physically, like in person, or through an email, or through a Zoom call. Body language and the way they write their emails quite often tells you a lot about a person. I talked about this very subject back in episode 5. Now, this was one of my very early, oh my goodness. This was a slap in the face, learning with Legion Generals. Episode 5 was called The Part-Time Demon Slayer. Now, this person lives in the very suburb where I live. I don't see them very often. They're not part of my friends group, or I don't see them at the shop or anything. This person was recommended to me for some house clearing, but it didn't work because this person didn't want to stop the beings coming to them. They wanted to control when they came. This person wanted them to come, say, I can't remember the days, I think it was Tuesday and Thursday. She said, no, I don't really want to do this all the time. I just want to do it part-time. And I'm sitting there looking at her like, you don't know how this works, do you? Humans cannot control paranormal beings of any level, whether they're spirits, elementals, or all the different levels and layers of dark energy beings, which I usually talk about as being dark or demonic, just a different level of energy. You can't control them. And when I went to this lady's house, because she was a local and it was the early days and I thought I needed to visit people, which you actually don't. These beings were quite offended by having someone like me in the house, and I copped a lot of slack from them because this lady was very, very disrespectful to the lower vibrational beings, and they were giving her merry hell, no pun intended, but yeah, kind of intended. They were giving her merry hell in her home every single day. And she's like, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. But she didn't want change, which is what it came down to in the end. After 3 months, I was like, she doesn't want change. When I talked to her about it, she's like, no, I like doing it. I'm like, no, I have to walk away from this. I cannot help with this. And when I had a Legion General show up, this is a very high-ranking demonic level being. When they come through a portal in your kitchen wall and you're sitting there doing some work and you look up and you're like, oh my, am I in trouble? I was in trouble. All I saw was a very long black horn and a cloven foot started to come through this portal, and I went, right, I get the message. You don't need to be here. The energy being stopped and thought about it, and it's like, I know who you're connected to. I know where you're connected to. I'm very sorry. I made a very humble apology. Believe me, as humble as you could imagine. I apologise to this being and to the dark realm for getting involved with that lady. I didn't know. It was the early days. I didn't know how to read people's body language and the way they talk and their phone calls and so forth. So I learned a lot from that. And again, Again, I talked about this in episode 19, which is all about paranormal addiction, where I unpacked why people use paranormal happenings to get attention, and they get victim mentality, they get the sympathy that they need, and what this causes in their homes and to their families. So if you've got an issue with the paranormal that keeps coming to you, you've got to think, why are they coming? What am I doing in my life? What are my habits? Well, what are my thoughts, my words, my actions, my reactions, my hobbies? Why are they attracted to me? And then you've got to ask yourself, do I really want them to stop coming? Because this goes right into mental health. There's always an underlying cause as to why these paranormal beings come to people. The devil never makes you do anything. And I'm not going to get sidetracked on this. Dark energy come to people because of an underlying something. It can be an addiction, it can be a thought pattern, it can be a life trauma, something that triggers you or something that you use to trigger other people. It's all very complex. But anyway, let's move on. Now, I know I wasn't going to talk about past relatives, which I already have already, but sometimes if you haven't dealt with grief around a particular person's death, that person may stay in this reality out of concern for your mental health, your emotional health, about you worrying about this person. Are they safe on the other side? Are they okay? Are they being looked after? Of course they're being looked after. They're with the angelic beings. They're with the higher vibrational beings. Yes, they may have some karmic trauma that they've got to deal with. Or maybe they need to go through some learning. But it's all in a positive sense. It's never harmful. When your relatives pass, they are moving into another state of being. It's always a higher vibration. No matter what you've done in your life, everyone that has been on the earth is going to go into the afterlife in, how can I put it? People don't go to hell. Hell is the devil's headquarters, where all the dark and the demonic beings of all the different rankings hang out. And there's also magic realms, there's also sorcery realms, where all these low vibrational beings hang out, waiting to be invoked, or the dark energy beings are given a job where they go. No one goes to hell. That is a fallacy. That is not real. It is not true from my perspective. I'll have religious people that will argue with me. That's fine. That's your belief. Everyone goes into the afterlife, but we don't all go through into mass consciousness straight away. You have to atone for your sins. I'm not going to get sidetracked on that either. Now, I've got a couple more sort of unusual possibilities as to why spirits keep coming to people. Because remember, we're still talking about spirit level. Astral travelling. Now, I don't astral travel as far as I know. But I've read a lot of books and watched a lot of online videos and talked to people who do astral travel. And they say that they see spirits, they see cosmic beings. Sometimes they see energy beings, or they have interactions with different levels of these beings. When you come back into your body, this is your light body coming back into the physical body after astral traveling, do some of these spirits come back with you? Do they take a liking to you because you're a really nice person? Or you remind them of their granddaughter, or you remind them of their son, and they just kind of want to hang around with you. That is a very big possibility. But I can't really give you any more information on the astral travelling part because, like I said, I don't know if I actually do astral travelling. Now, the last little section we're going to look at before we look at a couple of things related to the darker end of the scale, the darker beings. Starseeds. Now, people are going, what the heck does she mean? Some of you will go, oh yeah, I know about starseeds. A lot of people think of this as an interesting aspect of energy being attraction. Now, some people, I'm using the some people terminology for generalising, people that I've seen online, in books, spoken to in person, think that we all come from other planets, other cosmoses, other galaxies, and that Earth is just simply a melting pot of all dimensions, of all beings, from everywhere in the universe. And to me, that kind of makes sense for all these topsy-turvy energetic interactions and happenings and stuff that's going on all the time. Starseeds are people that have an inkling that they might not be from here. They kind of feel like they don't fit into this reality. And I'm putting my hand up here. Like, I've got my hand up in the air. I don't know why. I just do these hand gestures. I don't think I'm from here. I don't feel like I fit into the earth realm. I never have. I don't relate to people very well. I have trouble with conversations. I have trouble with understanding people's intentions. I just feel like I'm functioning in a different vibration, maybe in a different reality altogether. Who knows? Now, anyway, that's just a little bit of food for thought for you about why spirits may come to you for various different reasons. If you like this spooky content of this episode today, please hit the subscribe button and you will get a notification when every new episode is released to the public. And stay tuned for many, many more episodes unpacking the strange and unseen aspects of the paranormal world around us. Now let's look at the darker end of the scale. This is pretty simple. Dark beings aren't as complex as spirits. So what I've written down, because I've got notes in front of me, so I try and stay on track, are two reasons. These are a couple of really good reasons why dark energy beings of all different levels are attracted to us mere humans. Now, you want to know what they are? It is basically your vibration and your intention. So again, it's just the law of attraction. Your vibration that you put out with your thoughts, words, actions, reactions, habits, comments, hobbies, whatever you're doing in your life, creates a vibration. Now, you're going to hear me talk about this a lot. I focus a lot because I do the house healing and the personal energy clearing work. I focus a lot on the emotional imprints that we create. Now, an imprint is a vibration of a particular emotion, whether it be worthless or unworthy or sadness, despair, guilt, shame. I've got hundreds of emotions that I look through when I'm doing a house clearing or a personal clearing. Also look at trauma imprints, what you've been through in your life, what your addictions are. Do you have any recreational drug vibrations around you? Anything that carries a lower vibrational energy, any type of activity, and like I said before, your thoughts, your words, your actions, your reactions, it all relates to what you attract to you. And basically, with dark energy beings, this is what I tell all my house clearing clients. I have outlined for you in the report, very detailed, because I'm very OCD. You'll see everything that I found in every room, every emotion, every trauma imprint. If there was recreational drug residue, if someone's done some sort of black magic practice, any other types of negative or lower vibrational imprints that are in the home, in whatever room or outside in the shed, in the land. Now you've got a clean slate. You need to keep your thoughts, your words, your actions, your reactions as clean and clear as possible. Now, it's not possible to do it 100%. None of us are perfect. But when you're aware of what your triggers are, then you work on not reacting to that trigger. Because if people don't change their negative thoughts and words and actions and so forth, you're just going to attract the darker energy beings and the demonic level beings back into the house again, back into the car, back into the caravan, back into your personal energy field. Because remember, these beings are only drawn to the energy vibe that you put out, to your frequency. You're living in a higher vibrational state and you're aware of what your triggers are and you're doing your best to not respond in a negative way to situations. You just don't attract the dark beings. Now, intention. This is the other biggie. Intention carries your desires and your wants. What you want in your life. Some people, I'm using that some people thing again, trying to generalize here, want to connect with the darkness. They want to experience it. They want to know. Now, I'm not exaggerating here. They want to know what it's like to be possessed. When I worked as a paranormal tour guide a while ago, I was working with a group of people going around a facility here in Tasmania. And one man, out of the blue, burst out with, "Any demons here? Please come and possess me now." And it wasn't just me that stopped walking and looked at this man. Some people are probably just thinking, "What are you saying? You're an idiot." And just would have kept going. I looked at that at a deeper level. Why does he want to experience this? When people put that vibe out there, say a demonic being comes to them, what are they going to do with it? It's going to take over their lives. It's going to change their thoughts. It's going to trigger whatever is hidden within them. It's going to trigger your mental health, your emotional health, whatever your vulnerability is, that can be triggered. And just turn your life upside down and just turn everything topsy-turvy. So hopefully nothing attached to that man, because he would not want to know what possession is like. It is not very nice. I've dealt with lots of clients with possessive behaviours, and they all wish that they didn't have those energy beings with them, with help from their mental health professionals, because these beings mess with your head. It is simply what their energy does. Now, apart from that statement that man made, that was just a very low, what I call a low-level statement. Now, sometimes it gets even worse. We get people whose intention to connect with the darkness, their desires and wants are even worse. They want to control the darkness. They want to use its power for their greed, their selfishness, their ego, their need to feel powerful. I mean, seriously, why would you summon the darkness to feel powerful? They've got no idea what they're dealing with. Sometimes these people, when they're attracted to or part of black magic cults or some sort of sorcery, or they're into all the dark magic, they want to control the darkness for themselves, but also to do harm to others. If you've got problems in your life, invoking the darkness is not going to help you. Take it from someone who deals with cleaning up these sorts of messes all the time. See your doctor, see a mental health professional, talk to your family, talk to your partner. Talking about your problems changes the vibration of the problems. It's not a fix-all, but it gets the process rolling. Now, I am going to mention cosmic beings here. Now, I did mention them slightly with the astral travelling, but this is in a slightly different way. I don't ever call aliens or ETs, because they don't like it. They don't like being called aliens or extraterrestrials or ETs. I was told very specifically that these beings like to be called cosmic beings, because they are cosmic. If you think about it, words are important. The intention is important. Cosmic beings are here with us too. Now, sometimes when you think you might have a spirit in your house, you might actually have a cosmic being in your house. Now, I'm not trying to frighten people. These beings aren't all here. We're not talking about alien abduction. I'm not saying that. It does happen. I do believe it does happen. But the cosmic beings that I've come across are simply observing. I sometimes feel like I'm being watched. Now, that's a commonplace thing for me. Like, I don't go into panic or paranoia or worry about it or go looking for it. But if I suddenly feel uncomfortable, I get a stomach ache, I get brain fog suddenly, my body goes a bit wobbly because I react very physically when these energy beings are around. I'm like, okay, stay calm, stay quiet, get my pendulum out. I ask, who is here? And often I'll ask, are there any dark energy beings present? And I'll get no. I get my no sign. Are there any angelic beings present? This is normal for me, so I often get a yes. But I'm going, this doesn't feel like angelic beings. Cosmic beings that are around us from many different planets and constellations and galaxies. And you know what they're doing? They are watching and they are observing us. And I feel like I ask them, may I ask you some questions? I always want to know more. I'm a real sticky beak. But the cosmic beings won't communicate anything other, they're so funny, than they are watching and observing. And I'm like, I let it out with a great big sigh. I'm like, seriously? I want to learn about you. I want to know about you. Would you please share some simple information about where you're from, who you are? And I get, Nope, they are simply observing. our habits, our actions, our reactions, what we do, why we do it. I sometimes feel a bit like a lab rat. What I'm going through with the work I do, with some of the energy I get hurled at me sometimes by the living. And I just feel like they're there with their checklist, ticking off how I go and writing up notes and sometimes shaking their heads if I don't do things the way I should be doing them, which is, who knows what. But they don't interact, but they don't harm. That's really important to note. All of the cosmic beings that I have dealt with over at least a 30-year period, they're simply observers. And I'm sure there's many of them that walk amongst us in physical bodies. But we won't go down that track because the cosmic beings aren't really my thing. But I just thought I'd mention them in case you feel like you've got someone around you and you're not quite sure and you do some dowsing, or you go and see a reader and they go, look, it's not a spirit. It's not a dark energy being. I don't know what it is. Just think to yourself, it might be an angelic being. It might be a cosmic being. I find, now if I can give you some information about cosmic beings, is that they are of a higher vibration. They're not connected to the dark energy beings. In saying that, I had an issue recently with black magic. I didn't instigate it. I was the receiver of black magic and sorcery issues caused by another whole problem. But anyway, when I asked about what sort of energy beings were around me, yes, there were some sorcery beings that had been invoked to come and do harm to me, but there were also some cosmic beings. And I went, oh, that's interesting. And I heard in my head, reptilian. And I went, okay, I'm just going to observe that because I don't judge. Now, me telling you about this is no judgment about the reptilian race of cosmic beings. I'm quite sure that there are good reptilians and then there are the naughty ones. It's like humans. We've got the good humans and then we've got the naughty humans. We all have good and bad within us. It's just what we tend to do with it. It's what we choose to do with the dark and the light within us. So I hope you found this interesting today. Something a little bit different. Or maybe it isn't. I'm always talking about these topics. Just different tangents. All the time there's a new tangent coming up. So in episode 66, we are going to be exploring the origins and the meaning, old school and in the new age, of the devil's number 666. And I thought this was kind of appropriate for episode 66, and why not? I've always been fascinated as to where the connection between the number 6 and the devil actually originated, and why this number seems to strike fear into the hearts of so many. So join me as I explore the depths of the dark realm and unpack the meaning of the number 6 and its rather devilish connection. So thank you for joining me today, and don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording, or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.